Welcome back, True Seeker. Lots of big news stories to go over. It is Monday, April 15th, 2024. Again, the purpose of doing this work is to help people snap out of the coma they seemingly go into when they watch the stories presented on the screens. Once upon a time, it was on radio and it wasn't so mesmerizing to the audience. But yes, we're going to go over the very repetitive pattern of Donald Trump versus New York and the number 60 leading up to the 60th U.S. presidential election. We've been covering this since before last April. And of course, here we are today, 60 days from Donald Trump's upcoming 78th birthday. Has everything to do with Stormy Daniels, you know, the stripper porn actress who allegedly had the affair with Trump. Of course, she's 45 years old right now. Like he's number 45. So we'll get into this and break this down a lot further. And the story of Iran attacking Israel, but minimal damage being done because Israel has this amazing missile defense system called Star Wars, which goes back to the days of Ronald Reagan. Hollywood. But this story right here, when Iran supposedly attacked Israel with minimum damage because of the amazing defense system, this came 911 months into Israel's age, plus a number of other things. We're going to go over that. 911 matters a lot, and if you've forgotten why, you will be reminded. But of course, this war that this is now connected to started between Israel and Hamas in Gaza on October 7th of last year, which was the anniversary of the U.S. invading Afghanistan after 9/11. And then they called what happened last October on October 7th, again, the anniversary, they called that Israel's 9/11. And ever since 9/11, Western media has hung the idea over our head of this axis of evil that Iran's a part of and how they could trigger a third world war. An axis, these three evil powers as the West has presented them, which has been Iran, uh, the Korean dictator land, not the one that we trade with. And that third one seems to constantly like shift from China to Russia. But again, always this language of this axis of evil and Iran being a part of it. And now this perfect ritual, 911 months perfectly into the existence of Israel. This happens. And it reminds us of how the CIA overthrew Iran's leadership in the 50s, which isn't some conspiracy theory. Look into it. That's a understood story that happened in time, how we used our intelligence agency to overthrow Iran for, obviously for the benefit of the relationship between dollars and oil, which has powered, the automotive age, if you will, and a whole lot more. But yeah, 911 months in exactly, plus a few other things which we're going to go over. In Milwaukee and becoming more national news, it's big buzz. This thing that reminds us of Jeffrey Dahmer, maybe a racist white guy who would rip the leg off of a black woman like a chicken wing and leave it on the street. And the story comes from April Fool's Day. But again, this is Milwaukee, where Jeffrey Dahmer cannibalized black victims. And of course, that became a big buzz when Netflix made this into a show, Jeffrey Dahmer, recently, that got a lot of attention for people who didn't know that story, younger generations who weren't alive when Jeffrey Dahmer was around. But notice the girl's 19 years old. This came in the 19th month since the release of that show. And we're going to look at that more because I don't think it's an accident. Also in the news, Clarence Thomas on the 106th day of the year doesn't show up for court. And this is the national news story. Where's the black Supreme Court justice? He didn't show up for work. Again, the reason this is such a sick joke, if you saw when we went to Yale, it was September 2022. We were out in New York for the anniversary of 9/11, and then we drove up to Yale. And it was actually one of the best parts of the trip, just talking to the Yale college students and sharing this knowledge and information with them and how well they all responded to it. Didn't have one bad interaction, and had a lot of people who really got it and added to it. And again, when you're at Yale, you're with some of the brightest minds in the nation. So it was like, wow, this information with bright minds just resonates in a big way. But the sick thing that happened when we were at Yale, and I'm bringing this up, is because Clarence Thomas went to Yale, like so many powerful people in DC did. But it just blew my mind seeing it with my own eyes because we've been talking about this pattern forever of 106 in Black history. It connects to 1,000 things, including BET's hit show 106 in Park. But here we are on the 106th day of the leap year, the day Jackie Robinson Day falls on an MLB, the first black man in white major league. Clarence Thomas is in the history books for the Supreme Court because of race. But it's the 106th day of the year. He's about to turn 76. Remember, the federal government recognized Black History Month in 76, and we know what they did to Carl Weathers the first day of Black History Month, and what just happened to OJ as the Masters were teeing off in the Ephesians 6, 5-9 tribute. But anyway, the reason I'm making this point about Yale is because they have the Masonic Lodge for Black men there, Prince Hall Freemasonry, right next to the campus. And do you want to guess what the building number is? In light of today being the 106th day of the year, and this building being next to Yale, where Clarence Thomas went. If I need to give you one more clue for what the building number is, if you haven't guessed yet and you're still thinking about it, again, the hit show on BET was 106 in Park. Again, in Gematria, if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language, meaning a word or a phrase would have 4 numerical value sets. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Z is 1, back to A is 26, turning each letter to a number and then adding the value of the word black equates to 106. And if you do the same thing but apply numerology to each letter, Black Lives Matter equals 106. And there's been a lot of rituals that we've documented over a very long period of time with 106 and black men. And it was way before we went to Yale and saw that it was building 106 for the Black Masons next to the campus. Now just to see this all, just a couple more years later, like, come on, man. You should go back and watch the video. We were probably wondering if Clarence Thomas once walked, on the floors of that structure. To say he still doesn't. Again, these secret societies still exist. Who shows up to the buildings? But yeah, Clarence Thomas doesn't show up without explanation. We have an explanation. That's the power of this knowledge. Every day we can give a logical, rational explanation of how these rituals are unfolding and understand why. When you understand that secret societies are a real thing, a lot of the founders were members of secret societies. The Masons etch Allah's number on the building. DC is known as the Masonic City. Again, the Masonic building for black men at Yale, building 106. Come on, I mean, I don't want to be super redundant, but so many times. My home city, Portland, back when Portland, Oregon had the longest Black Lives Matter protest going on the air, we saw that from the day it started to the day that would be September 11th would be the 106th day of the protest. And what happened in Portland that day were crazy wildfires that had the air just filled with nasty smoke, and it was rated the worst air quality like in a really long time anywhere, and the worst in the world. And everyone was told to stay indoors. They turned, the trees black for the 106th day of the Black Lives Matter protest. And again, we saw that coming a mile away. We knew they were going to do something funny for that ritual. And it ended up being that. But there's been so many things we've talked about with 106 before they happen, when they happen, and this is just such a long list. Everyone needs to learn this little simple code so they can see the puppet show that goes on in DC that these secret society types play with us day in and day out. Scottie Scheffler wins the Masters. Go back to what we said when the earthquake happened in New Jersey, the biggest in 140 years, they said, for the region. On April 5th, 4-5, the epicenter on Donald Trump's golf course. We talked about how they encoded 88 all over the earthquake because Trump had the first pro tournament there exactly 88 weeks before the earthquake. And Trump equals 88, like energy. And it was right before the 88th Masters. And 45 is always a huge number at the Masters. Augusta equals 45. Green Jacket equals 45. The end date of the Masters began the 45th week of Scottie Scheffler's existence. But he's from right by that golf course. Just like what we talked about in that video. We talked about the number ritual and to find out who lives in that area, who came up in that area. Scottie Scheffler came up in that area. Scottie Scheffler in Gematria equals 88. You could tell they were trying to keep gamblers off him by putting out this story that if his wife gives birth, he's going to leave the tournament early and forfeit. If you looked up the story about it, they all said that she worked for a charity. Hold on. Let me get the name of this charity she worked for. Behind Every Door, which equals 88. And again, like I talked about, the earthquake on Trump's golf course happened on Henrik Stenson's 48th birthday, and he won that tournament at that course 88 weeks earlier, and he was from Sweden. There was a rookie from Sweden in this tournament that they gave pretty good odds to, and we thought that's interesting that his odds are so good, and he's Sweden and Henrik Stenson the earthquake. So out of the top 5, we had 3 of these guys circled for very high finishes in the tournament. And we circled about 5 names. Out of the 5 names we circled, 3 out of the 5 finished in the top of the tournament. Thought Scheffler had the strongest argument. He did it. We thought Morikawa had a great narrative. And the Swede threw Henrik Stenson in the golf course. And again, for the people who don't get it, we've called 5 out of the last 6 Masters before this year. The thing that was the downside of this year is they were hardly paying anything on Scheffler for the tournament. I've never seen such low odds. And that was also a sign this thing was in the bag for him. But like we always say, it's all about the master numbers, 11 and 22. Like when Tiger won the other year, it was his first major in 11 years. And it was 22 years from the first Masters he won in 97. Scheffler does it with 11 under. Every year it comes back to the Masters. Last year, Jon Rahm, we love Jon Rahm to win it. Jon Rahm won his 11th PGA event. Numbers, patterns, rituals, a rig system, bombs in the ground to make the ground quake for ritual on with the epicenter on Trump's course. And what was the name of the neighborhood? It was White House something. Go back and check, but yeah, and if you guys missed it, through 36 holes, they had 3 guys at 6 under on 6-date numerology. The top 3 were all 6 under. Number 4 was 4 under. So only the top 3 golfers were 6 under through 36 holes. 666 is the 36th triangular number, meaning if you had 1 through 36, it equals 666. The word beast, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, is 88. This was the 88th Masters. It teed off with 88-year-old Gary Player. And he hit the ball impressively. I was impressed. I was like, see, he takes care of himself, that guy. He's 88, and he still looks athletic. That's impressive. Anyway, just all this stuff, you guys. We're going to go through all of it. Francis Coppola's wife is now dead at 87. We just had the ritual with the 87-year-old Rothschild banker. He died in the big 87 ritual, perfectly synced with Pope Francis's 87th birthday. That's how old the Pope is right now. Pope Francis, 87. Now, Francis Ford Coppola's wife, dead at 87. And what's Francis Ford Coppola most remembered for? What's considered as the greatest movie in Hollywood history, The Godfather. The scene with the gangsterism, the killing, just that whole scene that ties it all together. The church, The Godfather. Francis Ford Coppola's wife dies 117 days after the Pope's birthday, right? In Gematria, The Godfather, 117. And that film came out in 72. If you're new here, 72 is big with the Jesuits. That's why Pope Francis became the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year. And then Tony Soprano died in The Perfect Ritual 99 days later when Gematria Sopranos is 99. And that show came out on HBO in 99. And it's set in New Jersey, too. This goes down at the time of the Masters. The other year, Scottie Scheffler won the Masters, and the Waste Management opened the day of the Super Bowl, went to the same high school as Stafford. But as he was winning that Waste Management tour, like the dump truck company, like the mob drives, as he was doing that, Dwayne Haskins was getting run over by a dump truck. And Dwayne Haskins was from Highland Park, New Jersey. Scheffler's from New Jersey, but went to the very powerful Highland Park High School in Dallas, where Clayton Kershaw and Matt Stafford went, and they all had sports rituals all perfectly synced with each other that year, as we documented then. But anyway, The Godfather coming out in 72, that was 52 years ago. And again, we're on a calendar named after the Pope, with a 52-week year for the Pope, and Pope is 52. 52 years after the anniversary of The Godfather. The wife of the man who made the film is dead 117 days after the Pope. And don't forget, 117 is big with the CIA, and the CIA was created in a big Jesuit ritual, and the CIA in Hollywood. And again, they want a society that it's just these Jesuits, man. They're like so simple and so genius all at the same time. But they need a society with instigated problems. They use those instigated problems as excuses to create laws and then to gain greater control over society. And I mean, they've even created a system where if they dupe people into going and committing crimes that they're caught for, then they end up living in a life in a cage with prison labor. So there was always a reason to market gangsterism to the common man who wasn't going to get away with it, like the connected mob that's part of this Jesuit Pope Illuminati network that Hollywood loves to make movies about, right? How the gangster leader and the police, and he's got just like everybody under his thumb, he's got so much money. He's got so much money and so many gunmen and so many killers all over the place. The only thing to do is just get on payroll with him, scratch each other's back. Anyway, it's obvious that this is the world that we are living in, and they love to rub it in our face in Hollywood. And again, once you realize the language comes from the church, that's English, and the calendar we're on that says she died April 12th, once you realize that calendar is Catholic, I mean, the rest is history. The Godfather, for the record. So, if you're new here, Jesuit order equals 54 forward, 72 in reverse. Sun equals 54. The sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. 54, 72 come together a lot in Jesuit rituals. The Godfather also equals 54, the small way, like Jesuit order. And again, came out in 72, now dead, perfectly synced with the Jesuit Pope. Again, the Jesuit headquarters at the House of Gizu, or is it Building 54? So, and if you're new here, 87 super special because the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name equals 87, like the Catholic Church equals 87. Number of the beast also equals 87. And like I said, gangsterism, New Jersey, Scheffler, the earthquake, Donald Trump, casinos, Vegas, gangsterland, gangsters, bankers, Vatican, Templar, how it just all comes together once you realize it, how it all fits in. All hands of this order. And then again, you just think about like, well, when people, I hate when people say that, well, how would they keep all these secrets? Again, you're in a nation that was founded by members of a secret society, people who do keep secrets and who take oaths. And they say it's all symbolic in masonry, but one of the things is when you're going through the early ranks, getting your first 3 degrees. By the way, a lot of people hear the term master mason and they think that's something super impressive. If you're a man, you can become a master mason in a relatively short period of time. That's the 3rd degree of Freemasonry. It's very low on the chain. You always hear people like say like he was a master mason. It's like, well, I know it sounds great, master mason, but it's very achievable to any man. And no, I'm not a mason, but I do know it's the 3rd degree, and I know that's your Blue Lodge. And Blue Lodge is about memorization. There's things you learn to read and recite, and once you can do it, you climb up through your first 3 degrees. So you put the time in, you can do it relatively quick. But if you hear somebody, Masons aren't supposed to share things, but I did have somebody send me an email of the thing that he was learning and had to recite when he was climbing through the ranks. And yeah, so I just remember being like, damn, that's quite a bit of memorization. But again, practice makes perfect. Anyway, sorry, I got tangential too, but yeah, there's more to this. We'll come back and touch up all these stories more. This poor guy, Willie Limond, dead at 45, pro boxer. Wonder if he ever boxed in any of Trump's buildings. Um, Says Limond won 42 of his 48 professional fights. Those numbers will stand out to you like a sore thumb when you know gematria. I mean, we've only talked about them all a million times in the sport of boxing, but again, the secret society that's behind all these sports and put all these numbers on them and ideas and concepts. Again, all of these sports, you trace them, they all go back to this Masonic brotherhood. Now, boxing and fighting is so old, it's hard to exactly pinpoint it. But once you realize that it's true of all the other more modern sports like basketball and hockey and baseball and football, it's like, okay, this is the network that has achieved these types of things. And you see the same type of encoding in boxing. The word Freemason equals 42 forwards, 48 in reverse. Freemason, 42, 48. Part of the Illuminati's plan was to infiltrate Freemasonry. As we know, Illuminati equals 48. It was founded by a Jesuit. Jesuit equals 42, Adam Weishaupt. Okay, but this poor guy, he's dead, and his death is announced today, the 15th day of the 4th month. And from his February 2nd birthday to his death is 73 days later. If you're new here, when I first started this research, I was only using these 2 ciphers for everything, because the other 2 are just running the alphabetic order in verse. First, I was just running it forwards and with numerology, just like I learned it from Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And we've seen these numbers come together so many times in suspicious deaths. This man's announced dead on 15/4, 73 days after his birthday. And he's 45, which means he began his 46th year of life. Again, just like the day you're born, you begin your first year of life. When you turn 1, you begin your second year of life. When you turn 2, you begin your third year of life. So he's in his 46th year of life. Genesis 46 about sacrifice, the first book of the Bible. And in Catholic Bibles, they're 73 books long. Remember, Holy Bible equals 45 as well, and that is age of death, how it'll go down 45. But sacrifice, 73:46. Ritual sacrifice, 73:154 on 15/4. And again, for people who weren't here back in the day, most of my decodes, like this would have been the news story I would have been doing them for that day, because that's about as much as I would have seen of it. And at the same time, it's plenty to see, because you start just paying attention day after day, how it all lines up. The other thing I could say about this is his birthday, February 2nd, is the 33rd day of the year. If you count the span of days, instead of 73 days after his birthday, you could say he died on his 74th day of his age, with his birthday on the 33rd day of the year. Again, I've always explained how they put those numbers together, especially in killing, because Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables, killing, occult, English, energy, Masonic, Jewish, all of those words equal 74, like holiday. All of them equal 74, just using the alphabetic order, the most simple cipher. With numerology, Independence Day is 74. 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7/4. Jefferson and Adams, the 7-day, July 4th, 1826, and then 1826 days later, Monroe died on 7/4. But killing 74 like holiday. Jesus, cross, both 74. The belief is Jesus on the cross at age 33. So this guy's born on the 33rd day of the year, dead on the 74th day of his own age, in a biblical ritual. So RIP to him. And again, there's when you start to realize the way these people die by this code and how redundant it is, if you're actually paying attention to the headlines, you realize there are a lot of entertainers in the world, lots of levels to entertainment, different ranks of fighting, a lot of fighters, a lot of countries. But as these headlines break and they make international headlines, you just see over and over. You're like, damn, the same thing. Okay. So the one thing I hate about my work is I'm so redundant, because there's people who watch every video and they don't need me to be redundant at all. But I know there's always a new person here, and without some redundancy, like you're missing how important it is. Donald Trump lost his ex-wife 45 years after their marriage. Their marriage was in 1977. She died July 14th, 2022, 45 years and change later. Of course, Trump, number 45. Her death was exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year. And in Gematria, Donald Trump equals 60. It's the upcoming 60th presidential election. And with all these indictments, we've just been documenting over and over the important use of the number 60 in this ongoing saga. So now here we are in the year of the 60th presidential election, and it's exactly 60 days before Trump's 78th birthday. 60 days before his 78th birthday. He has the same birthday as the flag. And this trial has to do with Stormy Daniels, 78, right? Remember, Cleveland equals 78. The only split-term president, Grover Cleveland. Trump had his 2016 convention in Cleveland. It was cool that he was, sleeping with porn stars. We never had a president like this. Kennedy also equals 78. Remember, the election's 144 days after Trump's birthday, and that's the Kennedy curse number. RFK Jr. got in this race 144 days after the Superior General's birthday. Donald Trump once posed with the only Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis, on the 144th day of the year, May 24, 2017. Remember, in Gematria, Kennedy curse equals 144, so does Jesuit order. And RFK died at 1:44 a.m. Kennedy died 144 days from meeting with the Pope on July 2nd. And his child died that year, too. JFK lost his child before his assassination August 9th, the day leaving 144 days left in the year. The elections on the Jesuit important day, Guy Fawkes Day, November 5th, the day that Trump supposedly survived an assassination in Nevada back in 2016 on that same day. But Jesuit Order 144, Jesuit 78. Again, Trump's going to be 78. The election's 144 days after his birthday. And again, the other thing is when he first appeared in court in New York, it was last April, April 4th, what would have been the 44th birthday of Heath Ledger, who died while filming Joker. And the story then was that Trump was in that court right after they filmed the latest Joker scene there. And Trump refers to himself as Batman, and Batman is connected to Yale Skull and Bones. Anyway, I don't want to go back through all of it, but the fact that Trump was there on 4/4 on what would have been the 44th birthday of Heath Ledger matters because 44 is a fateful number. JFK was number 35, but the 44th term president, shooting, execution, kill, they all have gematria 44. Trump was number 45, but the 44th person to be president. The current vice president is Joe Biden, whose name equals 44, who was the VP to number 44, who was president before Trump came in there. And Trump got some notoriety in connection to the White House through accusing Obama of being from Kenya. And they called that the birther. Birther equals 44, the birther argument. But yeah, this 78 number is huge. The pandemic was declared 78 days after Anthony Fauci's birthday. Wuhan coronavirus equals 78, like order out of chaos. And we know how it was all Jesuits all over the place for all of the pandemic. And again, it was perfectly coordinated with both Trump, Jesuit educated, and Fauci, Jesuit educated. Trump went to Fordham. Fauci went to Holy Cross. Now he teaches at Georgetown, which simulated Biden would win the election with the Transition Integrity Project 144 days before the 2020 election. Okay, now adding insult to injury for how scripted this all is, not only is Stormy Daniels 45, while number 45, like all the Hillary fans right now are like, lock him up. Oh, this is going to be the greatest irony. I love the way this story's unfolding. But it's like a boxing match. But then will there be another swing? Like right now, all the Hillary people are like thinking he's about to go to prison. But then imagine how they're going to feel if he wins and becomes the nation's first Grover Cleveland since Grover Cleveland. It's only been one split-term president. Cleveland was number 22 and number 24. Trump announced at the end of 2022 that he's running for 24. And again, his wife died 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year in July of 2022. And if you don't know about that Jesuit Ignatian year, check it out. It ran more than a typical full calendar year. It ended, the last day was July 31st. And that was the day that Bill Russell died, right after Boston lost to San Francisco when he was Jesuit educated. San Francisco played for the Celtics. 11 championships, dead on the 31st, the 11th prime. Anyhow, Stormy Daniels, it's 29 days after her birthday. Manhattan equals 29. That's where the court case is today. They're in Manhattan. They're in Gotham. Manhattan's 29, so is Trump, so is Masonic. 29's 11 in numerology. 11, the master number. Watching the master plan unfold. How they got everyone all caught up and thinking different things and divided and emotionally invested. And what could happen to him if he doesn't, like I just said, like what's going to happen to all the liberal old ladies in Seattle that are full of jabs? Like, is their ticker going to pop when they put him in there? Like, what happened? All the groups I was going to said he was going to prison. He's the president again. I thought this is how they got the nation. Or, it could go either way. They got everyone invested in this show, and it's just one big sick show arranged by numbers every day, just like how they etch on the temple. All is number. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Look at where they said Trump was in room. Look at the room in the criminal court he's in. He's in room 1530. 153. Jesuit order. If you've been paying attention, we covered 5472. We covered 144. Here's the fourth one, 153. The Illuminati equals 153. Holy Bible equals 153. These people use the Bible like a playbook. The Illuminati founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And, Manhattan Criminal Court equals 248. Remember the mega ritual with the Trump mugshot on 24/8? Big astrological things happening. Jupiter. Or it was it was actually Pluto. I take it back. It was Pluto. Plutocracy. Again, the rich rule by the rich is what plutocracy is. The name based in the planet Pluto. Pluto has I got to double check. I believe Pluto has the 248-year cycle, but the US is about to turn 248 years old. The Illuminati turns 248 May 1st. So again, there was just all that attention on Trump's mugshot. Remember, gematria, the practice of calling numbers into words. Like the rabbi said, it all comes back to energy. And then if you study Hermeticism, you realize it's about energy manipulation. Energy equals 88, like Trump equals 88, like the ritual with his golf course right before the 88th Masters with Mr. 88 from the backyard, Scheffler winning. But everyone was there was such a buzz about that mugshot, and just people wanted to talk about it. But now look at where he is in court. Manhattan Criminal Court, 248. And May 1st, not all that far away. The Illuminati's birthday. And then July 4th, not all that far away. The nation's, again, Illuminati turns 248 May 1st. Don't forget how that Baltimore collapse was all synced with May Day. The big story was the May Day saved it from further destruction. May Day has that gematria 36 days before May 1st was how that bridge came down. Again, go back and see what we're covering about Baltimore. So many things to keep straight. But yeah, we'll see where this story's at by May 1st. You know. May 1st, for the record, will be 251 days after August 24th. That's the 54th prime number. Bavaria equals 54, which matters because that's where the Illuminati was founded in history, May 1st, 1776, right before this nation was founded. So 251 days after the mugshot, 54th prime, Bavaria 54, Jesuit Order 54. We know Diddy right now has a prosecutor after him who's from Georgetown, founded by 54-year-old John Carroll. And it's the same prosecutor who sent R. Kelly to prison. R. Kelly P. Diddy. What's with the first initial and then the longer name? But same Jesuit prosecutor got R. Kelly at age 54. Now Diddy's 54. And again, when they sent R. Kelly to prison, it was September 27th, which is the day in history the Jesuits are recognized by Rome. And we were just seeing how in the O.J. Simpson trial, Johnny Cochran, Jesuit educated, he said on September 27th, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. That was the line that stole the show. That everyone said, well, that must be how they decided he was innocent because the glove didn't fit. Didn't make any sense. But yeah, September 27th. OJ benefited from that after the racially charged and instigated Rodney King beating. And then they said OJ was justice for that. And don't forget the Jeffrey Dahmer thing happened around that time too. Now you got OJ dead and another cannibal in Milwaukee at the same time, and people just don't catch on to the patterns. But yeah, I'm very curious on May 1st. And I mean, just the jokes in this. Prosecutors ask judge whether they can introduce testimony relating to series of National Enquirer stories. I mean, this is where we are in 2024, you guys. The National Enquirer is always known as the funny papers that you can buy up at the checkout line at the grocery store. Now it's now it's part of the prosecution of Donald Trump in the same courthouse where they're filming the Joker movie. As a overgrown Orange Oompa Loompa who came to fame in The Apprentice. Remember, The Apprentice is the first degree of Freemasonry. Freemasonry equals 58 like secret society. Trump announces from the 58-story Trump Tower, wins the 58th election. Now trying to go split term. But yeah, if you guys, here, I'll just go back down memory lane real quick. See how I'm doing on time. I'm looking for a specific story here. Let me see if this is the right one. Yeah. Heath Ledger, again, would have been 44 the day Trump appeared in court. Stormy Daniels was 44 at the time. Again, Trump was the 44th person to be a president because Grover Cleveland had a split term and messed up the count. We were talking about then how it was 83 weeks before the election that happened. All these narratives for the election. Donald Trump, Alvin Bragg indictment. You see how they're all 48 forwards, 60 in reverse? Keep in mind, going forwards, Hollywood is also 48. So is Illuminati in that same cipher. And then you go back to the old Jesuit formation. It had 60 members. The word order equals 60. But yeah, I guess that's fine. I just wanted you to see. I mean, these are old posts. These are from last year. That post is from March 31st, 2023. Let me. I remember. I remember his indictment had a lot to do with the old Batman. I'm just scrolling down to see if this is the right post where it gets to the Batman part. It was on the anniversary of the Batman, uh, like first article being published. I don't think this is even the same post. Yeah, I just have like so many documentations about this. It's just I got to find the right one. Because people have to understand like how big of a joke we're living in. It's amazing how people are taking this stuff seriously and they don't see the joke, the colossal joke. And you have to realize the flex of being able to do this. I mean, the societies that control us are saying like, see, we got everybody. We got them because we control them all with the dollar bills we print. And that's why people like Thomas Jefferson got it. That if you ever allow a central bank, they'll just control the money, and with the money, they'll control the people. You cannot have a central bank that the nation's dependent on. Yeah, here it is. Donald Trump was indicted on the 84th anniversary of the original publication of Batman. Remember what they just did for Nancy Pelosi's 84th birthday? R.I.P. Francis Scott Key Bridge, when it got taken out by the Singaporean ship, and coincidentally, she had just shaken hands with the Singaporean leader on Francis Scott Key's birthday, August 1st. Yeah. Okay, so the first publication, you know how when you get a magazine, it's always for a future date? So this was the May 1939 issue of Batman, but it was first published on March 30th. And if you've ever had a magazine subscription, you know how this works. This isn't some crazy conspiracy theory. This is the way the magazine business has always been. So March 30th, 1939, it is considered one of the most important and valuable first appearance debuts from DC Comics alongside Action Comics #1, released the previous year. March 30th, 1939 on sale. Cover date, May 1939. Issue number 27. 64 pages of action. 64 space on the chessboard. Don't forget, 2020 was 64 years after Trump's Jesuit education. Or, excuse me, I take it back. Trump's Jesuit education began in 64. That means 2028 will be 64 years after his Jesuit education began. 2028. It'll be here before you know it. But yeah, just his Jesuit education began in 64. That was 56 years before COVID, where everything was 56 in the time of COVID. The name of the virus, Anthony Fauci, Gavin Newsom, every Jesuit you can think of connected to that thing. But yeah, Donald Trump, the conviction and being in court on the anniversary of Heath Ledger's death. Excuse me. Allergy season, you'll see me doing that more. But yeah, again, for people who can't wrap their mind around what's being done to us, you guys got to wake up. I mean, the last Batman movie that they just put out, what's the huge climax date? November 5th. Yeah, the last Hollywood movie that the Batman series put out, the big climax day, the day the Joker attacks, it's November 5th, which is the day of the election upcoming. And Trump again said years ago that he was Batman. He's like Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne, for the record, equals 45. The billionaire who at nighttime comes out in the costume and saves the world. We're doing some real detective work. We need more people to help us out with this detective work. It's amazing how, there's a lot of people that try to do detective work of history and make sense of the world, but I don't understand why more people don't want to pick up this lens and pay attention to what is exposed through it. It blows my mind. So yeah, we've been talking about the ritual with 9/11 in Israel. And of course, we've been ahead of the curve too, because remember how you had the 10-4 alert in Russia, and then that same day you had the 10-4 alert here in the US on our phones? And Donald Trump says he's the father of that alert. But anyway, That day on TFR, we broke down what was encoded in that ritual, and we said, we got to watch out for October 7th. This is pointing to October 7th, Putin's birthday. And then, boom, the war ritual in Israel, and now all of these escalating tensions coming out of it. Well, notice that Iran attacked Israel on the 104th day of the year, like how this all started with the 10-4 alert, right? So just understanding that piece is important. 10-4, message received, 10-4, over and out. No, it's known as like a form of communicating through numbers. But in Gematria, Roman Catholic Church is also 104. And we just concluded the 104th NFL season, and it was the first ever NFL season that ended on the Vatican's birthday, February 11th. So if you're new here, we've been showing how all throughout this process with this war, how perfectly it's been coordinated with the Pope and the Superior General in the Catholic Church. And this is an ongoing theme that we've been exposing for years. But check this out in light of this attack coming exactly 911 months into Israel's age. So Israel was established May 14th, 48. Remember, 48, special year. Freemason, 48. Illuminati, 48. Donald Trump, 48. Just had the eclipse on 4/8. We had the 4.8 magnitude quake on Trump's golf course on 4/5 when he was number 45. All of those things were being focused on at the same time. The earthquake, the upcoming eclipse, the Final Four in Arizona, the 48th state where Arizona was used as the cover artwork for Public Enemy's What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down. Anyhow, shortly after all these events, you have this new thing that's seen as, because they're saying even though Israel didn't get hurt that bad, it could have been god awful. It would have been so devastating had their Star Wars missile defense system not saved them. It's essentially how the story is being told. So it still deserves a proper response. And now, all day on April 14th on Sunday, they were contemplating the appropriate military response to this attack that they largely thwarted. But come on, in light of the CIA overthrowing Iran in the 50s and what we really know is behind the establishment of Israel, again, you have the conclusion of World War II, you have the establishment of a Zionist state, you have the CIA established, many other intelligence agencies throughout the world. I'm trying to think of something right now that's escaping my mind that's also from 47. It's out of the UK, Tavistock. And keep in mind, a lot of the guys who've been president for this 21st century, all born in 46, they all turned 1 year old in 47, and that's Clinton and Bush, the second one, and Trump. Joe Biden was born even before that. He's the old man on the block, born in 42. But again, exactly 911 months into Israel's existence, in Jewish gematria, just one cipher. All of these things equate to 9/11, and we've talked about this for so long. Tisha B'Av equates to 9/11. That's to remember the destruction of the two temples. You're supposed to remember it. What was the phrase that always went with 9/11? Never forget. Remember. Never forget. Do you see how these things are synonymous? Tisha B'Av to remember the destruction of the two temples. By the way, it's also known as the 9th of Av, which has gematria 44. And 9/11 happened 44 days after what Tisha B'Av or 9th of Av fell on that year. That goes off the Hebrew calendar. But Tisha B'Av, 9/11, Vatican Hill, 9/11, ossuary. That relates to the Templars. But Bush referred to it as Crusades after 9/11. And again, Skull and Bones, the secret society that he's a member of at Yale, they get their symbolism, the skull with the crossbones, from how the Templars decompose of a soldier's body. They decompose the body in a shallow grave, then they take the bones when it's clean, and they put it in an ossuary. Again, try out Jewish gematria so you can see how all of these are the exact same in just one cipher. Tisha B'Av, Vatican Hill, ossuary, Al-Qaeda terrorist attack. That longer sentence is still 911 in that cipher. Jihadists, the singular word is 9/11 in that cipher. Division is 9/11. Offensive is 9/11. And I'll show you where this cipher's at. The first gematria calculator I ever became aware of was gematrix.org. And again, this is before Derek came around and built the Gematrinator. He built that for everybody at the start of 2017 after he found my work and he wanted to help expedite it. But yeah, this top cipher known as Hebrew gematria or Jewish gematria, It's funny, they used to refer to it as Jewish. Derek also changed the name, so I imagine the, what do they call that thing led by Mr. Greenblatt, who took office on the 201st day of the year? I can't believe I can't think the ADL. The ADL, maybe they're cracking down on the title Jewish Gematria, so they got his Hebrew Gematria over here now. But yeah, just all these things are here. I got one hand to type with. Here, see how it's 911 in that top cipher? Do I need to make it bigger? It's too small on the screen. Where did it go? All right, it's just this top cipher. All right. So here, I'm just going to type in jihadist, and then I'll type in that long sentence for the skeptic who's like, I doubt all those things equal 9/11 in one cipher. They do. And that cipher's been in my book that I wrote since 2017, just written out so you can see how the cipher works. It's supposed to pay tribute to Greek isopsephy and the actual Hebrew language gematria. Jihadist, 9/11. Al-Qaeda, terrorist attack. Yeah, I remember when we first found this back in the day. I mean, my mind was just blowing. I was like, whoa. But yeah, Al-Qaeda terrorist attack, 911. You see, you see how using the alphabetic order, it's 239. It's the 52nd prime number. Government, authority, they're both 52. Special number, 52 cards in the deck. Remember what day they found Osama bin Laden dead? 5-2. Dead on his 54th day of being 54 years old. Terrorist equals 54. Terrorism equals 52. The original definition of terrorism was government by intimidation. Our government tried to scare the shit out of us after 9/11. Scariest part was what they kept saying to us afterwards. How if we didn't give up all of our rights and liberties and all this money, terrorists will be on all our blocks, blowing us all up with dirty bombs in no time. Now it's 20 years later and everyone's forgotten. They're like, oh, look, we just keep the border wide open. What terrorist threat? But yeah, there's a lot of words in this cipher that are 9/11. Division, offensive, global currency, world trade. Again, 9/11 happened 11 years to the day of George H.W. Bush giving a speech about a new world order, a one world order. Manly P. Hall talked about this, how they want a one world government. The people who really founded this nation, he says they were the Order of the Phoenix. According to Manly P. Hall, the Order of the Phoenix founded this nation. That's the real truth, according to him. And their thing was to build a one world government. But actually, he makes it sound like it would have been great. That's why I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe he was under the impression that it could have been great. Doesn't look like that's the way it's going. It's like it's all based in lies and fear and evil and war and manipulation and loss of bodily sovereignty. This does not look good how they're building this one world order. So I try to give Manly P. Hall the benefit of the doubt. He was an optimist. He didn't get to live in the times that we got to live in and see what was going on. Maybe if he was alive, he'd been like, I was tricked. I take it back. This Order of the Phoenix is bad news. Anyway, I went a little bit overboard here with all the 9/11s, just things that are interesting. Like, isn't it weird that this guy's name, his actual name equals 9/11 in that cipher in light of the roles they've had him in? Get Out, Nope, Judas, and the Black Messiah. Anyway, though, coming back to this, here's one that actually matters. The leader of the CIA is Director of National Intelligence. That title equates to 9/11 in this cipher. Director of National Intelligence, same cipher. It's funny how one word can be 9/11 or a full title like that. But Director of National Intelligence, 911. CIA, created in a big Jesuit ritual in 47. So yeah, and just for the record, the current head of the CIA, Avril Haines, she did go to Georgetown, Jesuit educated. What do you know? She received her law credential from Georgetown in 2001. What a year! What a year to get it right at the start of the 21st century, as things are really going into motion. Don't forget the word Jesuits 21 to go with this 21st century being about like their full blatant fledged takeover, just mocking everybody with little simple things that they didn't know. Okay, so this story right here. Again, if you watch TV, there's this ad everywhere right now. You've probably seen it. This little girl who reveals after you're watching her for like 20 seconds that she's an AI. You're like, what? Well, she was an AI. She was saying how you need to donate money to her to solve children world hunger, and then she reveals to you that she's an AI. It's like what are they trying? What are they trying to do to us, you guys? It's these. It's just an unbelievable ad, really. It's like, why not use a real human being? And how many stories? I mean, like, if she didn't tell you that she was an AI, how would you even know? On the screen, she looked totally real. She looked like a human being. Couldn't tell the difference. But we've been talking about this for a long time, how there's a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com that instantly generates a new face, never before seen, that's supposed to look human realistic. And we used to play around on that website, and 19 out of 20 of them looked pretty like there's no way you would know the difference. It was sometimes it seemed like there's a little glitch in the hairline or something. I was like, well, I might question that hairline. But anyway, this story, you guys. Milwaukee, where Jeffrey Dahmer's from, who was a racist who cannibalized black people. And now a white guy is responsible for ripping off the leg of a 19-year-old girl, again, in the 19th month since the Jeffrey Dahmer show went viral on Netflix. Okay, this guy was charged for her killing on the anniversary of the start of the American Civil War, April 12th, okay? They're saying she disappeared April Fool's Day. Her leg was found April 3rd, which is the anniversary of Jesus' crucifixion, according to science. But then they charge him on April 12th. Now, we've talked about this before, the rituals with charge. Remember, like Dylan Stormroof, who shot up the South Carolina church, how he got 33 federal charges for racial hate or something like that? I remember talking about how charge equals 33, like race war, like Rodney King beating on 3-3, and police equals 33, like LAPD, and then they got charged, but then they got off, which led to the riots. Anyhow, this guy got charged. He's 33 years old. Okay, I have to make sure all these points are clear. Maxwell Anderson is 33 years old. Okay, that familiar number. He's 33. And from the day that he was charged to the anniversary of Jeffrey Dahmer's death is a span of 33 weeks on the nose. And again, the word charge is 33. In that same cipher, police is 33, order 33, secrecy 33, masonry 33, again, race war 33. Rodney King happened. O.J. Simpson happened. Jeffrey Dahmer happened. All those things were huge racially charged stories in the beginning of the 90s. And now it's 30 years later since 94. And again, Saturn has the 30-year return, and Saturn brings justice with it. And justice to different people means different things. Again, all these things they do to us are just meant to keep people just literally charged up and in the same mindset and holding the same prejudices and the same needless fears. And literally just talking about the same stuff over and over. If you read my last book, Number Games, I talked about how the rioting for George Floyd started on 33rd Avenue. And then how there was that diner in LA that immediately changed their name that they'd had since 63 because it seemed a little bit racist or maybe inappropriate now. And again, we were talking about, or the diner's name was something for 63 years or since 63. But over and over, it's the same numbers. This killer's name, or the guy who's been charged, Maxwell Anderson, equals 63. Racism equals 63. The story has to do with racism. Her name. I haven't been listening to the news story, so I haven't heard how they pronounce it. I don't know if it's Sade or if it's Sade. But her last name's Robinson. And notice this is buzzing at the time of Jackie Robinson Day. Remember what they did to the Black Eagle in the Jackie Robinson ritual on his birthday? R.I.P. to the Black Eagle. Would never take my Gematria phone call about, again, I tried to call that guy's show back in 2014 about this code and how they instigate racial divisiveness. I just always think back, like, had people embraced this work right away, how much different the world might be. Again, if just common people were aware, would they allow themselves to be manipulated by this stuff? But her name, Sadie or Sade Robinson, 54 and 72, like Jesuit order. And the story says she's from Vicksburg, MS. That's Mississippi. Probably a joke here with Samuel L. Jackson and Matthew McConaughey and A Time to Kill. But Vicksburg, and just the name Vic, too. Just in light of you guys thinking about all this stuff being meant to be racially divisive, I mean, what do you think? What's the, like, subliminal trigger hearing Vic? Remember after we went and bombed all the innocent brown people because of the lies of 9/11? Nobody cared, but then Michael Vick was killing dogs, and then everybody was in an outrage. They were burning Mike Vick jerseys in the street. Oh, my God. But yeah, Vicksburg, Mississippi, 72, 144, 153. Jesuit order, same cipher, 72, 144, 53. Her name, the same as Jesuit order, forwards and backwards. The charge was made on the 103rd day of the year. Jesuits, 103. Run it the other way. Jesuits equals 86. Her full name, which is, I'm going to say it's Sade. I'm going to assume it's Sade. If not, I apologize. Sade Carlina Robinson. Her full name, 86. Jesuits, 86, 103. They like to bring these numbers together on the 103rd day of the year of the charge. Said she was born May 10th. Again, she disappeared April 1st. That means from April 3rd, the day her leg was found, to May 10th is a span of 38 days. Death, murder, killing, RIP are all 38. And he was charged on the 163rd anniversary of the Civil War start. 163 is the 38th prime number. Again, if you're new here, might seem overwhelming, but you stick around, you'll see we're talking about these same patterns, prime numbers, and death, killing all the time. 163, 38th prime, murder, death, killing, RIP 38. Civil War, it brought the killing of Americans against each other. This year on the anniversary, they put out the movie, released, in the huge ritualistic code as we covered from the time the trailer came out in the premiere to the Jesuit educated actor who'd been in the Civil War movies, dying at that time, Andre Brower, Jesuit educated like Denzel. They say that, that's it too. This man, the killer, was arrested on the 56th anniversary of MLK's assassination. I mean, you can just see how they're just trying to pick up on themes. It's 30 years after Jeffrey Dahmer. And these stories, I remember Jeffrey Dahmer freaked my mom out. She was talking about how Jeffrey Dahmer was just, she's talking Jeffrey Dahmer all the time back when I was a kid. That story was on her mind. And that's what these stories are meant to do. And am I tripping, or does this girl look like unrealistic facial features? I'm just thinking, some of these AIs, like if I looked at this one on this person doesn't exist, I'm like, I don't know. I think her eyes are too big. She's like Hello Kitty eyes. If she was a real person, RIP, and yeah, it's just same patterns over and over. Her name in gematria is 86 and 121, like blood sacrifice. You see those numbers all the time around suspicious deaths. Okay, and then the Clarence Thomas thing. Again, we started here on the 106th day of the year. He's a no-show for court. Again, he went to Yale. Yale's got those 41 secret societies. Right next to the campus is the Prince Hall Masons Lodge, Building 106. Again, Black 106, Black Lives Matter 106. Obama's book, A Promised Land, 106 days after his birthday, on and on and on. On the 106th day of the year, he must be a BET 106 in Park. But the real concern is he's about to turn 76 years old. He's about to turn 76 for a couple of years now. They've been trying to make it known that he's got some kind of health problem. Been having some health problems. OJ, he just came out in February, Black History Month, and he said, I don't have any health problems. They're exaggerating that in the media. Don't listen to all that crap. And the next thing you know, he's reported dead at the start of the Masters. Master equals 76 like slave. Dead 59 days after the Super Bowl, Ephesians 6, 5-9. Slaves, obey your masters. Black History Month recognized in 76 by the feds. Now the federal Supreme Court justice, the only black man on the court, about to turn 76. This news story comes 191 days. See, that's what I mean about just, I know so many people are turned off by this work because of the more than one cipher thing, but it's like, do any of these people take the time to listen to what we're saying day in and day out? Society of Jesus is the formal title of the Jesuits. Today's 191 days before Clarence Thomas' anniversary of joining the court. And you see the 56 and 79? Look at Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas. 56, 79. And the same cipher, Washington, D.C. is 56, and so is Black Lives Matter. And remember, Black Lives Matter, when you run it the other way, is 106. Black Lives Matter. 56 like Clarence Thomas, 106 the other way. Black alone in reverse with no numerology, 106. Black, 34 and 11 like Jesus. That lady's leg. I swear to God, there's some kind of racist joke, like, just the stereotype that black people like chicken and watermelon. It's like, well, doesn't like almost everybody, unless they're vegetarians, like chicken and watermelon? I mean, vegetarians would still like watermelon too, but you know what I mean? Anyway, they found her leg on the third day of the fourth month. And again, they say that's the Jesus anniversary of crucifixion. Bob Marley sang a lot of songs about Jesus, and then Aston Barrett died on the 34th day of the year, 11 days before the movie came out this year, on the 34th day of the year. And Jesus is 74 too, and Aston Barrett died on the 74th day of his age. And Marley's 74, and his solo career began in 74, and Marley's also 34, like One Love, like how they put out or I take it back. He died on the 34th day of the year, and then they put out the movie on Valentine's 11 days later. That's how it was. But yeah, from what they do to a megastar like a Bob Marley, who's not part of the government, but part of influencing culture and society, to what they do to a Clarence Thomas, who influences culture and society another way. These are characters on the world stage. These are names that go down in his storybook. And you see that these names that go down in his storybook, a lot of them are getting the same kind of wicked treatment. Are they going to do Clarence Thomas at 76? I hope not. I hope not. I know that he will, in a way, it's like, what I really wish is one of these guys would speak out before their time is up. Show some courage. Like if I was Clarence Thomas and I knew my number was up, I might just expedite the process by saying what I should have said way back in 1991. Keep in mind, you guys, it's about to be his 33rd year, too, on the court. 33 this year. Let's not forget it. Federal 33, like secrecy, like masonry, like order. Washington, D.C., the big way, 137, 33rd prime. But yeah, hold on. What? I think I'm forgetting one piece here with the June 23rd. That's right. June 23rd leaves 191 days left in the year. His birthday leaves 191 days, and today's 191 days before his anniversary of becoming a member of the court. And today's also 69 days before his birthday. And go figure that Supreme Court's 69. Don't ever forget what they did with Antonin Scalia by the Supreme Court code. Clarence Thomas, he could be next. Antonin Scalia, he got it on the 44th day of the year on the ranch. Conspiracies flew. Was it number 44, Obama behind it? And again, look, for people who do not know this story, I encourage you to look up the story. Here, actually, let's see together if Google's changed the way the algorithm is. But this was a mainstream story. Antonin Scalia, secret society, ranch. I'm just putting in keywords here. This isn't proper grammar. Scalia spent the night of February 12th. Again, he was found dead the next day, February 14th, in his bed with a pillow over his head. That was the story. On a ranch. And that's the first day of Lupercalia, which is an ancient Roman festival, but Lupercalia is also 44. Anyway, so Scalia spent the night of February 12th with Foster, Poindexter, and others at the ranch, eating dinner with Poindexter before retiring to bed and later dying in his sleep. It's unclear what ties Scalia had to the order. Through Poindexter said that he had no connection to the group. But see, he was hunting. He was hunting with a secret society. They're saying he didn't have any connection, but he just happened to be hunting with this secret society. I think it's like Order of, what is it, Hubertus or something? Order of Saint Hubertus. And again, he was a great mathematician, Hubertus, if you look into it. It has to do something with the wolf. So, okay, just the story was he was hunting with friends who were part of this Catholic secret society when all this happened, but he wasn't in the secret society himself. I've seen other headlines where it just refers to it as secret society pals. So again, it is secret societies. You got to remember things will be covered up as much as possible. Point is, again, look into it more. This is here. Let me do an image search. There was a, let's see. There should be a picture of him and a bunch of guys in like green cloaks. Well, that looks like something that's changed in the algorithm. I'm sure if they say once on the internet, always on the internet. So I bet it's out there somewhere. Here's another headline. Scalia died after hanging out with centuries-old secret society of hunters. Maltese cross. The Maltese cross is all over the place in the Australian bridge stamping, and the Knights of Malta are connected to the Knights Hospitaller, which again reminds us the Catholic Church has the biggest private hospital network in the world and school network. But yeah, anyway, secret societies, rituals, numbers, same numbers over and over. Obvious tribute to just the word black and how they've assigned this number to it. And keep in mind, prophecy equals 106 like black as well. And again, I'm telling you, man, there's a reason in the Bible as we know it, they made it 42 generations to Jesus and gave him one physical description. And he almost looks like he's Clarence Thomas right there. Hair was white like wool, like Clarence Thomas. Okay, yeah, just real quick again. Scottie Scheffler equals 88 in Gematria. This was the 88th Masters. It started with Gary Player teeing off. Big story was his wife is about to give birth, and she works at this charity behind every door that's 88. And again, if you guys go back and watch my video on the earthquake, I said you got to look for the golfer who's from this New Jersey area. And it was Scottie Scheffler, whose name equaled 88. And again, from the first pro tournament at that course where the earthquake happening and the epicenter on Trump's course number 45 on 4-5 when Green Jacket and Augusta equal 45 like ritual. And April 14th he completed it. He began his 45th week of his age the day this happened, Scottie Scheffler. 44 weeks after his birthday, like Earthquake's 44. But yeah, just and they paid out no odds on him this year. I mean, in all they said that the last time odds were this low was back in Tiger's days of dominance, but at the beginning of the tournament, he only paid 5-1. Typically, the favorite in a golf tournament pays around 10-1, sometimes better, but 5-1's half that. And yeah, anyway, we did well again in the Masters. Again, you don't have to take every place in first, like I said. We identified 5 guys pre-tournament who looked like they had a real good shot at the top. We saw it was pretty much done for Scheffler, though, just because of how low they were paying out. But if it was going to be anybody else, we thought it could be this Swede because of the Henrik Stenson thing. Again, Henrik Stenson won the first tournament at that course exactly 88 weeks before the earthquake. He's Swedish, like Aberg. And that guy finished in second. And Morikawa, we thought would be up there as well. A caller in my live stream on Patreon made a great point about Tommy Fleetwood and the recent death of an English great golfer at age 88. And that was his call. So he was right on about that. Homa, I have to go back and see what it was about Homa. He did have some interesting numerical thing, but he wasn't one of my top 5 narratives at the start of the tournament. But yeah, we do this year in and year out. You know, I had Scheffler as the very number 1 narrative to win, and it's no bragging rights because it was just obvious from day one that they were rigging the thing for him. But the other guys had good value. And again, 5 top narratives, 3 out of those 5 narratives, one won it, and 3 out of the 5 finished in the top 5. Not bad at all. And again, just the power of gematria. And we've been doing it year after year. Nobody can come and say it's a coincidence. Again, that because of what we documented with rituals of number of the beast in 88 over the years, you can see that's what they're doing in this golf tournament. The word beast 88. In the 88 tournament, after 36 holes, they have the 3 leaders at 6 under, and that those 36 holes were finished on 6-date numerology. Again, you add 1 through 36 together, it equals 666, the number of the beast. So, yeah, I mean, and for the record, again, Mark of the Beast also equals 144, like Jesuit order, the day the tournament ended on 14-4 this year. All right, Scheffler, New Jersey, mob, Eleanor Coppola, again, wife of Francis Ford Coppola. We touched on some of these things earlier, but just to make sure the points really cemented home. She's dead at 87 while Pope Francis is 87. Her husband is Francis Ford Coppola, who made The Godfather. She died 117 days after the Pope's birthday. And that movie came out in 72, which means it just turned 52 on March 24th. Pope, 52. 52-week calendar named after the Pope. And that movie did release on the 84th day of the leap year. Think about that. Think about how special 84 is, like what we just saw go down in Baltimore on Pelosi's 84th birthday, synced up with Salvador Dali, who died at 84, synced up with the governor from Tacoma Park, who took office 433 days later, the 84th prime. There's just so many layers to it. It's just crazy how it's crazy how well they got it. Again, if you guys forgot, you got all these Jesuits in Baltimore connected to the collapse of the bridge, and then you got RFK Jr., the Jesuit educated Georgetown Prep, doing the Jesuit ritual, picking the woman from Tacoma Narrows the day the bridge collapsed. It's just, I understand why some people can't keep it all together, but anyway, 84 is a huge number. Jesuit equals 84. The Jesuit order equals 84. The Catholic Church equals 84. United States of America equals 84. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, whose name equals 87, like how old the Pope is. He died 84 days from his birthday. The Pope, who's 87 right now, was born on 84 date numerology. Of course, you got George Orwell's 1984. But The Godfather came out on the 84th day of the leap year. And again, came out in 72. Jesuit order 5472, The Godfather 54, Sun 54. The sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. That date can be written 24-3, like 243. Huge number with the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, which was founded in a Jesuit ritual. Again, Hollywood to shape the minds of people. Does our society not agree? I mean, just overwhelmingly, like you go out and survey the average American living right now, is it not going to win? Is it not going to be the most common answer that the greatest movie in the history of Hollywood's The Godfather? Not everyone's going to write that, but that's a common perception by a lot of people. The Godfather series, The Godfather, the original, greatest films ever made. And again, I mean, the Catholic connection, I don't even need to, I mean, it just couldn't be any more obvious. Remember, they just did this to the Rothschild, who died at 87. Perfectly synced with the Pope, name of the bank. Again, your arguments about Rothschilds running the world fall apart real fast when you have the proper lens to research. If the Rothschilds owned the Vatican, they wouldn't be sacrificing Rothschilds by the Jesuit code over and over again. Francis Ford Coppola had just begun his 86th year of life. Jesuits 86, blood sacrifice, human sacrifice, all 86. Run it the other way, blood sacrifice and human sacrifice are 67, like Eleanor Coppola. I see I have a typo here. I need to fix that. Francis Ford Coppola's got that April 7th birthday, 4774, boss numbers. But yeah, there's probably even more to it. You probably look into the angle from Apocalypse Now. Vietnam, by the way, equals 84. Apocalypse Now, if you haven't seen it, it's about Vietnam. It's more about, like, what warfare does to the mind of a man and what that means for the world, as they tease us with a much greater war to begin. But yeah, again, we covered this real quick at the beginning. Poor boxer's dead at 45, thus in his 46th year of life. He was planned to be in a fight with Joe Laws on May 3rd. He was about to get his career rehabilitated. This reminds me of the Cranberries singer. Remember what they did to Dolores O'Riordan? R.I.P. She was 46. Sacrifice code. They were just about to go back on tour, and then she's just dead. I forget how they tried to sell it. If it was an accident or a suicide. They tried to sell so many things as suicides that obviously aren't. But anyhow, they announced this boxer dead on 15/4, 73 days after his birthday. Right where it began. Ritual sacrifice, 154/73. Dead at 45, thus in his 46-year life. Sacrifice, 73/46. You could also say dead on his 74th day of his age instead of 73 days after his birthday. They always pair 74 and 33. Born on the 33rd day of the year. You know, a good example is London equals 74. It's divided into 33 neighborhood areas. Jesus and Cross, 74. On the cross at 33. Not hard to see who's doing the rituals. St. Pio gave us the language and the calendar and these concepts. So yeah, R.I.P. to Willie Limond. And this is the kind of stuff that just pisses me off. I mean, this really does just annoy me as someone who's made to pay taxes and who lives in a society of adults who don't think for themselves and just keep nodding their head to the TV like it's their ultimate authority. Yes, TV, I will put on the slave muzzle. Yes, TV, I will get another booster shot. Yes, TV, I will stand 6 feet apart. But I mean, we know what a big sick federal joke this is, the taking down of this bridge in the perfect ritual, synced with a member of longtime federal, two members of longtime federal government at least. It's probably way more than that, but I mean, it was perfectly synced with Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi. If you haven't seen my work on the bridge, please, I have a lot of it. Watch shorter videos if you're short on time. They'll get it done for you. But this thing's a big sick federal joke. So now to have the feds take more tax money to investigate it, I mean, I'm sure they send like the naive ones out there that don't know anything and don't have any. It's just gross, man. I mean, we pay for every aspect of this. What will be the bill to the taxpayer for the federal investigation of the bridge coming down? I mean, we already put out the proper analysis of what truly and obviously happened for free to the world. Government can just pick that up. If you guys are new here, I don't have it next to me. I normally have my what is 47 up, but again, it was just years of looking at news stories really that first set me on the path to gematria. Well, it was 9/11, a national emergency on 911 was the first big thing. But then noticing 47 over and over in news stories, like it just they had to let you know about the 47. Just like reading this. I mean, once upon a time I know gematria, this would have been like the 10th paragraph I read in the news in the last 3 days where they just had to throw 47 there. And that's not an exaggeration. You pay attention, 47 just everywhere all the time. The National Transportation Safety Board has been investigating why the 213 million pound ship lost power and crashed into the 47-year-old bridge. Very specific. How many pounds the ship weighs. So I was like, these people are speaking. There's a reason the number keeps coming up. And then lo and behold, you learn gematria, like, oh, wow. Time equals 47. News equals 47. Authority equals 47. Government 47. The Freemasons study the 47th problem of Euclid. Oh, wow. It has to do with foundation. Foundation equals 47. This nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month. Oh, building 7. Yeah, that's right. They did always say it was 47 floors tall. The big ones, buildings 1 and 2 on 9/11 were 110. Building 7 was 47. Funny enough, Osama bin Laden equals 110 and 47. The attack's perfectly synced with him. Again, they came down 185 days after his birthday. World Trade Center 185, like mathematics, like Catholicism. Remember how Vatican Hill was behind the 9/11? The Crusades, Bush referred to them. Something done in history on behalf of the church. But yeah, anyway. Did I mention that today's 258 days after Francis Scott Key's birthday anniversary? Yeah, that's a big Illuminati and beast number. Actually, maybe the beast thing matters because number of the beast equals 258 as well. And 666, if you take the square root, it's 25.8. The word beast is 47. So again, they got to tell you that the bridge was up for 47 years. And now the feds, they're going to investigate it 258 days after. It's just here. Let me give you a good example for the new person here. Is like I can understand if you're new here and you're like, well, now I'm skeptical of that one, the 25.8 and the 47. Let me bring it together for you real quick. So I'm going to take you up to the 47th parallel, where a lot of things are 47 up in Seattle, Bill Gates land. Hold up, I was thinking. Let me try this out. Let me add the word father. I want you to see what happened to Bill Gates' father's death in a big 258 ritual on the 47th parallel when both of their names equal 258. I guess maybe in like so many, because I have so many posts in the time of the pandemic, it could be pulling up all these other things I might mention. Huh. Let me search without the number and see what happens. That's wild. Oh yeah, that's right. Bill Belichick's mother was dead in the news. You guys see how Bill Belichick's mother's dead at 98? This is sad, but Patriots equals 98. New England Patriots equals 98. Tom Brady equals 98. Today's Patriots Day in Boston. Did you see what happened to the Red Sox this morning? They had the first game of the day and lost to fall to 9-8 on Patriots Day. And that can be all the difference between winning and losing with Gematria. If you're not aware, it's Patriots Day. You might have gone the other way because Cleveland Guardians is 107. And I did do that this morning. We've been having a great day, but I was so annoyed when I found out afterwards that today's Patriots Day. I was just like, God, Patriots Day. I should have known. See how they do it, you guys? Sports rigged year in and year out. Patriots, 98, right? Red Sox fall to 9-8 the day of Patriots Day. And again, just so you can see with your own eyes, New England Patriots, 98, and Tom Brady. Whoops, that's Tom Brady. Tom Brady, 98. No, he's the 199th pick of the draft. That's the 46th prime, and you can go on and on about a lot of these things up here, but just a real world example today, how on Patriots Day, the Red Sox fall to 9-8. I still didn't get to the Bill Gates thing, did I? Oh, I could have just given you screenshots from this one. Talking about the same things day in and day out. Oh, yeah. Lost his mom 153 days after his birthday. Same numbers over and over. Where is the Bill Gates part? What the hell? How do I find the Bill Belichick thing before I find the Bill Gates thing? I don't even know how this Bill Gates post isn't coming up. I'm gonna trip out if I find out that somehow it was censored, because it doesn't seem like it should be this hard to find. No, that doesn't make any sense that would come up before that. It's definitely in my book. Hold on. I'll just show you right here. Bill Gates' father died in 2020 at age 94. He died September 14th. And I just want you to see September 14th in a leap year. He died in 2020, which was a leap year like this year. It's the 258th day of the year, right? And again, Bill Gates is junior. Both of their names are William Henry Gates. And that is 258, right? 258. It's also 201, like he was, co-sponsor of event 201. It's also 84, big Jesuit and Mason number, big number to this nation, like we were talking about a little bit ago with what happened to the bridge on Pelosi's 84th birthday. 96 is a big Freemason number. Freemason equals 96. Masonry equals 84. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. The Jesuit order equals 201 and 84. See those numbers come together a lot. Again, the first episode of the second season of Stranger Things, it's 1984 in Pittsburgh, city ran by the Jesuit Rooney family. But there's a huge crash with cop cars in 84 in Pittsburgh, and then the car it really focuses on at the end of the thing with the destruction is car 201. Stuff's not an accident. Once you start to pay attention, you'll see how these numbers are everywhere. But number of the beast also has that 258. And the word beast alone is 47. Again, this bridge. Now, 258 days after Francis Scott Key, the federal investigation begins on the bridge that came down after 47 years. Again, Beast 88, we were talking about they did with all the sixes and the 36s and the 88th Masters. Evil stuff. I don't know where this ad came from. Oh, it's on that. Something I want to do in real time. I don't know if I ever looked this up before. I want to see who the director of national intelligence was when 9/11 happened. And I want to see. I'm not sure I've ever looked into this before. How do I go down? I got to go back to who it was during 9/11 2001. Because this guy, James Clapper. I remember this guy's name a lot. Look, he got out on January 20th, the 201st day of the nation's age. If you guys are new here, the words in the CIA's logo, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, they equal 201. Their motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence equals 201, like the Jesuit order, and it was created in 47 on the 201st day of the Pope's age. Catholic Pope is 201, like the Jesuit order, like Order of Illuminati. But okay, it wasn't him, though. I just see that he got out on the 201st day. Oh, this came out of the rework of the government. This term. No, there were. Ah, I see. They changed it from Central Intelligence to National Intelligence. Just for the record, with National Intelligence and all the 201 CIA stuff, look at National Intelligence. National Intelligence 201. Um, that event 201 starts to make a lot more sense once you know. But hold on. All right. Who was it in 2001? Oh, it was George Tenet. That's crazy because remember how they just did that thing on March 22nd? The attack of that building, that music house in Russia, and had the Skull and Bones fingerprints all over it on 322. And it was pointed out how it was synced up with the movie Tenet, which starts with like the same type of storyline. Hold up. Then you got Israel's 9/11 going on right now. He was 48 years old when 9/11 happened. False flag equals 48. Freemason, Illuminati, World War. You could argue we've been in World War ever since 9/11 happened. There's been so many nations that have been attacking each other over all this stuff. Hold up, though. September 11th leaves 111 days left in the year. It's the 254th day of the year. So that means it was 249 days after his birthday. "41 weeks in a day." Pearl Harbor in 41, the new 41. I honestly think all these years I've largely ignored George Tenet, and that seems like something we need to look more into. George John Tenet, 78, like Jesuit, like Scottish Rite, like Order out of Chaos. George John Tenet, 168, like New York City. Um, George Tenet, 58, like Bush and George W. Bush and Freemasonry and Secret Society. 121, square root of 11. 9/11, the ultimate 11. He left the CIA on Wait a minute. Yeah, he left the CIA on July 11th. That's crazy. Central Intelligence Agency's 117. Um, hold on. I think I see something. Yeah, that means that from 9/11 to his upcoming birthday was a span of 117 days, like Central Intelligence Agency. Remember how we saw in that list of 9/11s earlier that the title of the head of the CIA was 9/11? Yeah, it's going to be a span of 117 days. Central Intelligence Agency, and then he leaves office the 7th day or the 11th day of the 7th month. Huh. Took off December 16th, 9 days before Christmas in 96. So in the time of Bill Clinton, that Bill Clinton, when he first became president, Jesuit educated, he had the 93 World Trade Center bombing. I'm curious real quick. Yeah, I think I've honestly never looked into George Tenet on 9/11. That seems like a huge oversight. Look at that. From when he took office to when it happened, 56 months and days. Oh, snap. 247 weeks in a day. Remember what I've always said? I've always said the one thing that I can't really make a hard connection to with the World Trade Center is 247. I'm glad I found it at the tail end of the Illuminati being 247 years old. Yeah, you guys see that? Those are the four values of World Trade Center. So again, they came down 185 days after bin Laden's March 10th birthday, which can be written 10-3 like 103, like Pan Am 103. You know, the flight associated with Middle Eastern terrorism. Let's not forget Jesuits is 103. Catholicism and mathematics is 185 as well. If you spell out September 11th, it equals 77, the same way as World Trade Center. United States equals 77. The nation's capital's on the 77th meridian. This day changed the nation forever. Flight 77 supposedly hit the 77-foot tall Pentagon, and on and on and on. Again, DC's on the 77th meridian. Now we realize it was attacked 247 weeks in one day after George Tenet, the head of the CIA, took office. And then we see the title of the CIA has the 9/11 gematria. And then World Trade Center, of course, equals 94, as does the word terror. And it opened on the 94th day of 1973. Terror is also 68, like World Trade Center construction began in 68. Same year 911 was made the code. And terror equals 41, like 9/11 had 41 date numerology, and Al Qaeda is one of those 41 words, and so is Saudi Arabia. World trade. We do a lot of that with the oil conglomerates. Yeah, I'm glad we looked into George Tenet. Wow, how about that? 247 weeks in a day. And then the 56 months isn't to be overlooked. 4 years and 8 months. He was 48 like fall. Oh man, these people are good. Remember the three flights that hit targets were 11, 77, and 175. 93 was the one in the field. But the three that hit targets add up to 263, the 56 prime, and we know how much they brought the 263 56 together this year on Pelosi's birthday, 26/3 with the bridge, with the 56-meter clearance, and then what RFK Jr. did, and all the other layers to it. Yeah, wow. Something new about 9/11 in 2024. I got that's worthy of another trip back to New York. If only we could have like one of those digital billboard trucks, a sponsor, an awesome audio setup so that we can be heard for half a mile down every block, teaching about gematria. Come see the visual of what we're talking about, what's being planned out. Play the clip of the president leaving office and warning about the military industrial complex. Here, we figured out what he was talking about. It's how they operate. It's good to know for the next time they tell you to put on a slave muzzle or get this or get that or do that. I'm to say, oh no, together. All right. All right. Well, we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Thank you to the generous people. Shout out to Oscar Garcia. Appreciate that, Oscar. When I moved when I was a child and I had to find a new group of friends, my first new friend, his name was Oscar. Shout out to Oscar. Thank you again, Delta Dawn. I appreciate your generosity. And Oscar Garcia times 2. Wow, look at you. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, all right. Hopefully I wasn't too redundant. Hopefully I got to save that so I don't forget that. Definitely the post is coming on George Tenet. Really, all these people need to be investigated more. What high ritual went on under their watch? Like, there's so many gematria books that could be written by people if they get better at decoding. Be a book just on, I'm sure, the history of these CIA guys and the major rituals that took place under their watch. I'm gonna have to go. You know what? I don't know why I've been sleeping on looking at the directors of the CIA. I'm sure this is just a rich subject. He took office the year after the 95 Oklahoma City bombing. That's one I'd like to. April 19th, 95. That's crazy. He took office 86 weeks later. If you guys have not seen my work on Oklahoma City, it's also spanned 600 days. 68 and 86 are both big numbers in the Oklahoma City bombing. There was the hot rumor Bill had an affair with Jennifer Flowers, who was from Oklahoma City. And then 86 days after her birthday, the building gets 86 and her name equals 86. These people are wicked. Just like how they 86 the Key Bridge on the 86th day of the year. Key Bridge 86, 86 weeks after Pelosi shook hands with the Prime Minister of Singapore on Francis Scott Key's birthday anniversary. All right. Shout out to Rick James. Appreciate that, Rick James. Thank you. Austin Moore says, so who gets selected president in November? Well, I mean, I've been saying the same thing for 3 years, haven't I? They didn't push Donald Trump's ex-wife down the stairs exactly 60 weeks into the Jesuit Ignatian year for nothing. You got the 60th election upcoming, and he's got all the Grover Cleveland and Kennedy tributes going. It's just like, what are they going to do with this election, though? That's the bigger question. Like, how many more ways will they play with people's hearts and minds on the trail to 2024 as people don't see through the big rig show? All right, yeah, we will leave it there. I got to run to the grocery store, you guys. Thank you again to everyone who hits the like and the share. And until next time.